let's get to Tennessee's offensive line recruiting. Now, this is on our Patreon page currently. It posted, I believe, yesterday. And Tennessee's offensive line recruiting is going very, very well. Now, obviously, there is one gem that would make everything incredible for the Vols. Who is that? Caleb Calhoun. And what can you tell me about Mr. Sanders?
He would be 5-star David Sanders Jr. While the only credible prediction right now is a 247 Sports crystal ball sending him to Clemson, most insiders that I have read and that I've listened to genuinely think Tennessee's in the lead for him.
And just an FYI, that Clemson thing from covering recruiting has sat there for a while. And a lot of times guys won't change until they feel certain about the second school. You don't want to change twice.
Yes, that's very true. That makes a lot of sense. And so with that in mind, Tennessee right now has 3 offensive linemen committed for 2025. They have Anthony Ogumoro, who is a 3-star out of Oklahoma. They have Nick Moore, who is a 4-star out of an in-state 4-star, who doubles as a defensive tackle, but will play interior line next year. And they're
Center.
so far center specifically. And so far their crown jewel is Douglas Utu out of Vegas, who is a 4-star. He's actually a 5-star on Rivals, believe it or not, even though Nick Moore is a 3-star on Rivals. So take what you will with that. But long story short, those two average out to 4 stars as interior offensive linemen. 2 key interior offensive linemen, which we've talked about for a while, Dave. The interior line is the most important part of Josh Heupel, maybe the most important part of Josh Heupel's offense outside of the quarterback, because they make everything else go. You need that vertical rushing attack. I've said this for a while. Running back's actually not that important. You just need a guy that can see the hole. You need your interior offensive line to be elite if you're going to have the system work.
Yep, very true. So Sanders is one. He's out of Charlotte, North Carolina. This is all on our Hooker's Corner page. We would encourage you to sign up for just $9.98 a month. 4-star offensive tackle Juan Gaston. And if you sign up, you get a free Hooker t-shirt. And 3-star interior offensive lineman Jacoby Ward. So let's look at Ward first. Seems likely to end up in the SEC. He's considering Tennessee, Auburn, and LSU. It's a lot like Juan Gaston, that they have size at 6'4" and 335 pounds. Gaston's massive at 6'7" and 345 pounds. Now Sanders is just 6'6" and 290. What does this tell me about Tennessee's recruiting? It tells me they have guys slotted. So Moore's slotted for center. Gaston and Ward are slotted for guard. Sanders, with better feet, is slotted for tackle. That's another evolution in recruiting, guys. When you're not just taking an offensive lineman and hoping he can fit in somewhere, you're taking an offensive lineman that you believe can play this specific position, and he's there. And I think that is a big step in the recruitment evolution for Josh Heupel.
Yeah, that's very true. You're right. And I think he's tried that so far and he hasn't hit. Look, let's call it what it is. Let's be fair for a second here with Tennessee recruiting offensive line, because they have a chance, and as I said, to explode on the offensive line with recruiting very soon. They're already almost there. I mean, David Sanders would just complete a massive class. However, to this point, this is Josh Heupel's 4th recruiting class we're talking about that is his class. Up to this point, he has signed. He signed 4 offensive linemen in 2022. He signed another 3 offensive linemen in 2023. And entering campus this year, he has 2 more. I'm sorry. 5 offensive linemen he signed in 2024. Now, the 2024 class, we have no idea. That's pretty impressive. He signed 5 offensive linemen. 4 of them are blue chips. At some point, somebody he signed has to become a part of the rotation on the offensive line, because that hasn't happened yet. Okay, the only one who became part of the rotation was Jeremiah Crawford, who was a junior college transfer that he picked up as his only signee in the 2021 class. Nobody he signed out of high school yet has worked out on the offensive line.
Okay, but do you see how my point is that they're able to better identify and go after guys that fit specific positions? You see how that can help them? in that regard. They're not picking up a Jackson Lampley that may be a guard, maybe a tackle. No offense to Jackson, and he may be a very good player, may end up being a very good player. But with these guys, you know where they're going to play, don't you?
Yes, you do know where they're going to play, and that's going to be a common theme for Heupel that wasn't actually common with Pruitt, with Jim Chaney when they ran the pro style offense. I think in pro style offenses, Dave, you see a lot more mixing and matching at guard and tackle. I feel like with Heupel, they want to specify you into a slot of guard or tackle. Now they may flip you to left or right side, but they don't really move you on the outside or the inside. They keep you on the outside or on the inside. Whereas, Jim Chaney flipped Trey Smith from left tackle to left guard at different times. And so, yeah, I think they are being more meticulous. They're less desperate, which I think is good. And look, the 2024 class, it could work out. We have no idea how they're going to turn out. I mean, these are all newcomers, and one of them's bound to emerge into the rotation in a year. So I'm being a little unfair to Josh Heupel on this point.
What I'm hearing, go ahead.
I think Heupel, the thing that stands out to me is that Heupel, there is something about Heupel's recruiting that is attracting offensive linemen because he's getting them from all over the country. I mean, he got Max Anderson, Gage Ginther, Bennett Warren, and William Satterwhite from Ohio, Texas, and Colorado last year, or then 2024. This class, he's got a kid from Vegas now he's targeting David Sanders Jr. He's going much more national for offensive line, meaning there is clearly chatter, Dave, going around that Josh Heupel's scheme is good for you if you're an offensive lineman aspiring to make the pros.
How important is this class? 30 seconds brought to you by Medicare Misty.
19 years this year. I've been in the community since 1993. You're getting a lot of information. Unlike when you were working, they made the choice for you. Now you have to make the choice. Come to us and let us help you make it easy. Call Medicare Misty, MedicareMisty.com or 423-777-5577. Let us help them sleep at night.
And we call her Medicare Misty.
Now, I would think that Bison Lang would be the backup center. Other than that, I would be the starting center, in 2025. Other than that, and Lance Hurd at left tackle, I'm struggling a little bit to come up with the other three. So how important is this class to perhaps have a contributor on the offensive line? By the way, that never happens. Don't expect it, but we'll throw it out there anyway.
So people who signed in 2024.
Yes. No.
Okay,
People who signed in 2025. Do you think Sanders is the type of player? I'm sorry, that signed in 2024. Yes, coming up.
Okay, freshmen. People that are will be on the team this season.
Yes.
Okay.
But we're talking about them contributing for 2025. Excuse me.
Oh, they got to have a couple of players contribute for 2025. So the 2024 signees are that signed with this past year's recruiting class are Jesse Perry, Gage Ginther, Max Anderson, William Satterwhite, and Bennett Warren. I think Max Anderson and Bennett Warren, Dave, and this is going to be my hot take. This is where you're going to start being high on Heupel. I think those two guys as freshmen will be in the rotation this year. They won't be starters. They won't be starting, but you're going to see them get on the field. I think they are much more polished than a lot of other signees.
Garbage time?
I think when not Jeremiah Crawford. Oh my gosh, my mind just totally drew a blank. When John Campbell needs a break, you're going to see Bennett Warren get out there some. Or when Lance Hurd needs a break, you're going to see Bennett Warren get out there some.
Well, when the game still matters?
Yes, sometimes they need a break. The tempo that Josh Heupel's offense runs, the offensive line can't be the same offensive line on the field every single time.
Yeah, but you have to put a sub out there the whole time. That's the problem.
I know. There's going to be a drive
during the drive.
There's going to be a drive where Campbell or Hurd needs a break. Bennett Warren's going to get out there for that. There's going to be a drive where Javonte Spraggins needs a break. You're going to see Max Anderson get out there. Those two players are going to be out there when a break is needed. Just watch. Just book it. I think they both are. My understanding is they both are polished.
They're not going to do that. Unless it's Vice and Lang, not with any of the true freshmen.
You were asking me about 2024 signees in the rotation. I'm naming 2020. Vice and Lang's not a 2024 signee.
Right. I'm saying there's going to be other guys that play, but it's not going to be the 2024 guys.
You specifically asked me about 2024 guys.
I asked you, I thought you'd say, well, heck no, nobody's going to play.
I think those two. And I think, okay, and this is funny because it kind of plays into a stereotype I have of different recruiting regions. I think Texas kids show up more polished than a lot of other kids. They have a lower ceiling. They show up more polished. Dave, you covered Michael Munoz. He was ready to start as a freshman. Now, his ceiling was low. He didn't get much better through his 4 years at Tennessee. But he was ready to start as a freshman.
Yeah, but
but I'm talking about, like, you're right, he was from Ohio. But players like that. Texas kids are like that. That they're very polished when they arrive on campus.
It's a big deal. They don't get blown away by the atmosphere. Portions of the program brought to you by our great friends at TriStar Hats. For the latest TriStar Hats, go to the original. You can get hats, apparel, and more. Go to tristarhatsco.com. Use the promo code HOOKED for that great discount. Hooked at tristarhatsco.com. I would have to say, though, other than quarterback, offensive line in the SEC is probably the most difficult position to play. How would you rank them?
Okay, most difficult positions in the SEC. Quarterback is absolutely number one. I got cornerback number two.
I could see that.
Yeah. Now, cornerback is cornerback's number two.
Well, it's the same problem at corner, ironically, as it is the offensive line. Most of the time, it's strength. So the ability to put your hands on a receiver and be able to guide him or handle him, usually high school kids don't have that strength. Same thing for offensive linemen. They don't have the strength to push a 300-pounder. So when I look at Tennessee, I think of more of a power running game than a highfalutin, exciting offense. I do. And I see that other people just talk about the passing game, and that's fine. But I really enjoy the fact that this is a running football team because I think it is. You're right, Smoky Mountain Red. Texas high school football is on another level. And also, this, as we look to the message board, zone read on 3rd and 1 gets stuffed often. I hope we tweak that. That's fair. They have some 3 and outs, Caleb. But for the most part, I would have to say that based off what you thought you were going to get with Josh Heupel, because everybody talked about his passing offense, this running offense has been an A+++. Your mic's muted.
Oh, I know it's muted. I knew it was muted. So it has. Last year it was weird. It was a drop off from the year before, and I don't know why they didn't get under center more last year. Quite honestly, on certain plays, I was remember the Alabama game where they went forward on 4th and 1, and he did it with Milton in the shotgun, and I'm like, you were able to just hand it out to Princeton Fan under center the year before. Why can't you just sneak it with Joe Milton? And I will say, it's whatever you think about Philip Fulmer, and we've been on and off and criticizing him in the past. Don't you think a guy like Philip Fulmer, Dave, is like scratching himself out of anger when he sees teams get in shotgun on 3rd and 1, trying to run it for a first down?
Probably, but that's all I want to talk about. Philip Fulmer scratching himself.
I meant like clawing his skin. Yes, yeah. like I can't say pulling his hair out, but so
not a lot of hair. I saw the picture of him dressed up as a pirate with his grandkids. I love that picture.